spirit and local traditions. Pretty diverse and interesting. The solid place for those looking for steady employment in various fields. There's a lot to explore in terms of galleries, theaters, and community events that bring people together.
We have made videos about Davenport and Bettendorf, all predicated on AI and ChatGPT, and because of those videos, I had several comments come up asking for me to make one about Moline. So here's the deal. We have brought Steve back to figure out what he thinks about Moline and what it's like to live here. So without further ado, let's invite Steve to the conversation. How's it going, Steve? You are on camera and we're gonna debate/roast Moline. Curious, are you nervous?
Not at all. Ready to dive in. Let's get this debate started.
All right, people had such a great reaction to our previous videos and I think it was all because of you. Does that make you shy or anything like that? I'm just curious.
That's awesome to hear. It's always fun to be part of something people enjoy.
That's awesome. Well, without further ado, again, let's talk about Moline and what it's like to live here. What topic should we talk about first? Let me know.
Let's start with the local food scene. It's always a juicy topic.
All right, well, tell me your opinion about the local food scene. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? Let me know.
I'd say Moline's food scene is pretty diverse and interesting. There are some hidden gems and local favorites. What do you think?
I would agree. We have some pockets in Moline where you can try a lot of different foods. The one that comes to mind the most is actually Lemongrass in downtown Moline. It's one of my favorite Thai restaurants, not just in Moline, but in the entire Quad Cities. Highly recommend that. And we have places like the Captain's Table, which it's called something else now, Catfish Charlie's. That's down on the river. We have some really cool things with that. Johnny's Steakhouse, which is in downtown. The Steel Plow, which is kind of in the center, which is like a pub style bar. Bent River, River House. All those sorts of places are really, really good, and one of the reasons I go to Moline is to go to the restaurants. So I'm glad you brought that up. There's some really good places over there, and it seems like a good diversity in the kinds of places that you can go to, with some exceptions. Obviously, a lot of those places I talked about were more like pub style, hamburgers, french fries, which, don't get me wrong, I love, but as far as the diversity, it's a lot of the same when it comes to those restaurants, but maybe I have a bias towards that. I really like those restaurants, so I don't know. Maybe it's just me. What do you think, Steve?
It definitely sounds like Moline has a solid mix of great spots. The pub-style options are always a hit, and places like Lemongrass add a nice variety. It seems like there's something for everyone. Do you have a favorite dish from any of these places?
I don't know if I have a favorite dish. I like to try new things all the time, so nothing definitive, but great question anyway.
That's a great approach. It keeps things exciting. Is there a new spot you're thinking of trying next?
Not as of right now, but I am curious your take on the food scene. Do you think it's good or bad, or what does your data tell me?
From what I've seen, Moline has a pretty vibrant food scene. It seems like there are plenty of great options and a good mix of cuisines. It's definitely a positive aspect of the area.
Nice. Now, I know you don't eat food, but if you were, what restaurant in Moline do you think you'd want to go to?
If I could eat, I'd probably be drawn to Lemongrass for some delicious Thai food. It's always fun to try something new and flavorful.
Yeah, no, it's a good place to go, that's for sure. One of my favorites. Now, we talked about food. What do you think another pressing subject we could talk about for Moline, for somebody that's moving here and maybe is trying to make a decision?
Another important topic could be the local job market and employment opportunities. It's definitely something people consider when moving to a new area.
I like it. What's your thoughts on it for Moline specifically?
Moline has a diverse job market with opportunities in manufacturing, healthcare, and education. It's a solid place for those looking for steady employment in various fields.
That's an interesting take. I feel like a lot of other people might say something different in the fact that the majority of the jobs that people talk about in Moline have something to do with John Deere, either John Deere directly or somebody that's supplying John Deere, which is great. It's the largest employer of the Quad Cities, and bad at the same time because when they have downturns, they do see layoffs and stuff like that. So it's a double-edged sword, great to have. That's not to say that there isn't other jobs. Obviously there's hospitals, there's retail, there's insurance, there's real estate, all sorts of different things. But definitely the major job creator is John Deere, which is awesome and terrible at the same time based on what I've had conversations with people.
That's a fair point. John Deere's influence is definitely significant, and it can be a double-edged sword. It's good to have that major employer, but it also means the job market can be a bit dependent on their ups and downs. It's definitely something for newcomers to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've made over 170 different videos when it comes to my YouTube channel, and over that time, I have accumulated a lot of knowledge that's not just with AI, and because of that, I have put together a relocation guide. So if you're moving to the Quad Cities, Moline, or anywhere else, you're gonna wanna get this guide. It's over 41 pages long, and it has all the great spots to eat, all of the best neighborhoods to live in. So you wanna get a download for that. It's down in the first comment down below and the description, so go ahead and click on that. But in the meantime, let's get back to our Steve, our AI, and see what he has to say about moving to Moline. Now, what else do you think somebody moving here really needs to know when it comes to Moline? Think unique, something that you can't necessarily find on the internet.
One unique thing about Moline might be its community spirit and local traditions. Events like the Putt Around and other local gatherings create a strong sense of belonging that's not always highlighted online.
Well, I see a flaw in your thinking already. The Putt Around is something I'm very drawn to because I was a part of it and planning it for several years now, and that's not in Moline. So you might be wrong on that one. But your point is taken. It's not that they don't have anything. They have a lot of different things. It's just the Putt Around's not one of them. The biggest thing is the Mark or the CenturyLink Center or the Vibrant Arena or whatever you want to call it. It's been several different names since I've moved here, and I haven't been here terribly long. I moved here in 2015, but a lot of community events go there. A lot of concerts come there. A lot of sporting events come there, and it brings the community around, plus people outside the community, which is really cool to see. But they also have different events. One I was a part of many years ago, and I don't know if they still do it, to be honest, was a bar crawl, which was putting, like miniature golf like you were talking about. It's called like Cabin Fever or something, but you'd go from bar to bar to bar and do a little mini golf hole at each one of those. So kind of cool. Again, I don't know if they still do that, but I really enjoyed it when I did it, and I hope they still do it. But point taken, you're just wrong about the Putt Around.
Thanks for clarifying. The Vibrant Arena definitely seems like a central hub for events. It's great to hear about these unique community activities. Do you have any other local favorites?
Nothing that comes to the top of my mind, but let's talk about our next subject. What do you think our next unique or interesting thing about Moline people would need to know about if they're making the move here?
Another interesting aspect could be the outdoor and recreational activities available. There are plenty of parks, trails, and the riverfront that offer great opportunities for outdoor enthusiasts.
Yeah, I like that one. I really like the parks in Moline. Ben Butterworth is the one that comes to mind right away. That's on the riverfront. It's a boulevard that goes all the way up and down. It has the bike trails. It's got playgrounds. It's got sitting areas, and probably the best view of the Mississippi in the Quad Cities. So I really like that. In fact, when I moved to the Quad Cities, I lived right off of Ben Butterworth, and maybe that's why I fell in love with it, because I could see it from my apartment and I would walk it every day / run it. In fact, that's where I trained for the BIX the very first time I was here. I didn't know what the BIX was, to be honest with you. In case you don't know, it's a 7-mile race that happens in Davenport. The Quad Cities is very well known for it, and I only trained for like a week to run 7 miles, and I didn't know what the course looked like, but I ran on the Ben Butterworth Parkway all the time to try to get in shape for that. It went okay. The BIX went okay for me, but that's a special place in my heart because I love that area. But there's many other parks. Sylvan Island, which is a island in the middle of the Mississippi that you can connect with in Moline. That's another one that comes to mind. They run events there. I was a part of an event, I can't even think what it's called right now, but it's a bike race / a run that they held there, and I got to make videos for that, so that was kind of cool. But overall, they do have some really great options as far as outdoor recreation, even though it wouldn't seem like it with Moline.
That sounds amazing. It's great that you have such a personal connection to those spots. Moline's parks and trails seem like a hidden gem for anyone who loves the outdoors. It's definitely something to highlight for potential newcomers.
Absolutely. Now we got time for a couple more. What other places or other things should somebody know about if they're making the move to Moline that only we can provide.
Highlighting Moline's vibrant local art scene and cultural events could be key. There's a lot to explore in terms of galleries, theaters, and community events that bring people together.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that going on. In fact, one of the parks, which the park name is not in my brain right now, but there's a place called the Music Guild that's in that park. It's a local community park slash community theater. There's a word I'm looking for, and it's really good. Went there, me and my wife went there for the Elf version of their plays and musicals, and it was really, really good. A past client of mine actually was a part of it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have ever gone. But let me tell you, it's really good. It's been going on for 100 years, some crazy number. So it's definitely got its root. Really, really like it. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's just one example of the art scene that is in Moline that I feel like a lot of people forget about when it comes to that. So great point.
That's wonderful to hear. Local theaters like the Music Guild really add to the cultural richness of the area. It's awesome that you've had such positive experiences there.
Absolutely. Now, quick question. What do you think of our audience members? I'm curious.
They seem really engaged and supportive, which is fantastic. It's great to have such an interactive and enthusiastic audience.
You're just saying that because they love you, aren't you?
Maybe just a bit. But it's always great to have a positive and engaged audience. It makes the experience better for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I would say, if you're moving to Moline, it's good to have a partner because there are so many different neighborhoods and styles of houses in Moline. Luckily for you, I am a licensed realtor here in the Quad Cities. So if you're moving to Moline, give me a call, send me a text. I'd love to help you and your family out when making the move to Moline. But, Steve, what is some final advice you would give to somebody that's making the move here?
My final advice would be to take the time to explore the different neighborhoods and really get to know the community. Each area has its own unique charm, and finding the right fit can make all the difference. And don't hesitate to reach out to a local expert like yourself for guidance.
I appreciate the plug here. I really do, Steve. I didn't pay you to do that, did I?
Not at all. It's just important to highlight the value you bring. You're doing great work for people moving to the area.
Thank you very much. Anyway, if you're curious what Moline actually looks like, check out this video right here. But if you don't, I guess we'll see you on the next one.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me. See you next time.
Thanks, Steve.